Hey you guys, it's me, B. Riley. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the channel today, and thank you for jumping in. Now, before we get started with the Gibson bass that we finally finished, that thing took like a year. I want to talk real quick about our Squire Mustang giveaway. Now, for the Squire Mustang giveaway, all you need to do to enter on this is that there's going to be a comment down below. It's going to be a pinned comment. You'll see it. And all you need to do is just reply to that. Just get everybody to reply in a nice straight line. And essentially, what I want you to go ahead and enter there is just your first initial, your last initial, and your general region and or area / state. That's all you need to do to enter. You don't have to go to any other websites or anything like that. To go ahead and check if you are the winner, wait for the next video to come along. At the beginning of the next video, we'll go ahead and use numeric selection at random to go ahead and choose our winner and announce who's taking this thing home. So hopefully you guys are down for that, and you want to go ahead and give the entry a try. But I definitely want to see this thing go off somewhere where it's going to be used well and used constantly. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, I do have to say something else as well. You might notice in the video that there might be some very brief edits or cuts which kind of stop mid-sentence. The reason why I'm actually a little late with some of the videos lately is because I've been fighting a very, very serious case of pneumonia for about 5 or 6 days. It literally had me just completely bedridden. So I apologize if my hue is a little lighter than the usual and my voice is a little bit broken up. Anyway, if you can deal with it, I sure can. So let's go ahead and get to work. Okay, so first thing right out the gate, anybody who's been following along with the episodes on this one from quite a few months ago has already seen all the carnage here. We had a serious crack right at the bridge post, and we had to do a half butterfly plug to draw that part of the timber back together, seal it up, before we attempted to try to use a syringe to get some glue down in there. Now, it all came together really, really well, and even though in its bare wood form it's quite, obvious to see, once it's all painted up, it pretty much disappeared right into the mix. Now, we've touched every part of this bass. We've gone through the fretboard, we've gone through the frets, we've gone through the electrics, we've gone through the jack. The pick guard is completely manufactured one-off, and even one of the bridge saddles is made out of blue tortoise plastic because it was missing. So we really have gone from one side of this bass to the other. So as much as I would like to sit around and talk about it and kind of glare at it, let's play it first, because I really want to hear it. I haven't been able to play it yet after doing just almost a year's worth of work on it, and admittedly, like a kid in a candy shop, I just can't wait any further. So let's go ahead and plug this thing in and see what kind of obnoxious noises we can get out of this, because I guarantee you that pickup is just an absolute monster. Anyway, let's get to it. so now since we've had a chance to kind of, give it a brief listen, let's go ahead and get into it and see what this thing needs or not. So first off, the setup landed really well, but it still needs some height adjustment. The geometry is not quite there. The intonation is not quite there. And upon playing it, even though the frets looked pretty good, we gave them a quick clean. There are some low spots and there are some high spots. I seem to be running into a little bit of buzz around the 5th fret. So whoever was playing this bass many, many years ago seemed to be staying off of the open stuff, staying around 5th or 6th fret. There seems to be a heightened amount of degradation of fret height there. So in order for this thing to play properly, especially with the flat wounds, because they really do profess when there's a geometric issue there, we got to take care of that. I want to clean up the fretboard a little bit more, but these melody makers do have one very, very big problem: the bridge. The bridge that Gibson chose to use on this is a little too light, and there's just, there's not enough stability there. You have a 2-bolt system in which the bridge drops on top like a sleeve over these almost pneumatic style posts. And because the geometry there is not perfect, because there is a lack of close tolerance building there, or maybe because it's just been worn out for so many years from rocking back and forth, is that there is far too much play in the bridge. And what winds up happening is instead of the bridge tensioning and then being pulled this way, the tension starts to lift the bridge towards the back, which is why that stud cracked so many years ago in the first place. Now this can be fixed very, very easily, and we're actually going to wind up doing that on this one, which is we're going to drill 2 small holes in the recesses underneath where the retaining spring is for the saddles. It'll be invisible to anybody who's walking by or sees it on stage, and it should draw that tail down, flatten it out, so that you can have an appropriate adjustment height on the bridge without having this tilt. So we're gonna have to fix that. The electronics, they're a little rounded. I feel like it could be a little bit brighter. It's a very, very muted sound. So I'm gonna go in there and check to see if maybe we've got something that isn't quite carrying the current the right way. But it also might be just the attitude of the bass. You're talking about a short scale mahogany bass with flat wounds on it. And these frets are pretty flat themselves. So it's almost like playing a rubber bridge guitar. Before that gets taken in a way that I don't mean it, that's not necessarily a bad thing. The tone on this is very interesting. It's got a kind of McCartney, early 60s kind of tone. It's not a hollow body. But it's got a lot of mid. I mean, a ton of mid. You can't even get this thing to try to sound modern. It just wants to sit in that low mid, to high mid range where it's got a huge bump in that section of frequencies. There's not a lot of treble, and there's not a lot of that sub bass that you would get out of, say a round wound equipped jazz bass plugged into a modern, Mark B amp or something like that. It seems like the type of tone that would fit perfectly along with a like-minded guitarist who's pushing a lot of mids and stuff like that. Somebody who isn't trying to take up the whole spectrum, but just trying to focus very meticulously on one particular area of frequency response. Now, I'm not a bass player first, so if you're a bass player, you might be looking at some of my bass playing and realizing that the technique is just kind of a la carte. I just kind of grab whatever I want, whenever I want. So my apologies there. I'm a better drummer than I am a bass player. But the neck on this thing, okay, this is where it's got to stop. It's all about the neck. It's all about the neck. This thing is so comfortable to play when it's sitting in your lap. It doesn't command energy the way that a P bass does. When you play a P bass, the P bass is like, oh, I'm going to sound the business, but you're going to work, and that's all there is to it. And same with the jazz bass. Most of them you get that way. They're just kind of overbuilt for the sake of catering to the genre. And I understand that there's an expectation of a little bit more of a substantial feel. I love that this is a guitar player's bass. It's the neck is really not far off from a 68 or 69 SG, junior neck. It doesn't have the binding. It's just dots. But the profile really isn't that different. And the body cutaways are really not that much different. And when I put it next to John Monroe over here, it's really the type of thing you could jump back and forth from one to the other. So yeah, I love the neck on this thing. I like playing. It was really fun to play yesterday. It was a little weird to get into at first, but once I got into it, I was like, oh, I could understand how this is the type of bass where you might be tempted to spend a large part of your life playing this thing. If that's what you're doing strictly for sessions, for shows, or just at the house, this guy is a lot of fun. It's a really great little rig. And the funny thing is that the gentleman who owns it probably paid less for it than, you know, an Epiphone, you know, G series bass, you know, with the bolt-on neck, or it could be the glue-on neck, you know, because there are different iterations of that. This is an excellent alternative to that, and it'll hold its value because, you know, every guitar is like a new car. And this is not going to make me popular, what I'm going to say next, because it's not. And it runs contrary to the business that we're in. But when you buy a new guitar, it can be gorgeous. It can be your dream machine. I've been there. But the only problem is it's new. So the second that you walk away with this thing, it's now used. And it's just one of another 100,000 units that are identical that are used. So if you ever do anything ornate to it, you're never going to get your money back out of it, because somebody's just going to go down the street and go buy a stock one and then do what they want to do with it. You know, because we never get our money out of mods and stuff like that. And, you know, the value has a tendency of coming down and coming down and coming down every time they release another year in which that model is made. It's not that having a ton of them out there makes them worse. It just that, you know, it makes it difficult for you to be able to sell it because there's so much other competition. There is no competition with a bass like this. Yeah, it took a year to get it here, and yeah, I mean, total investment by the original owner, you're probably looking at less than $1,000. It's $1,000 is not a small amount of money for anybody. But at the same time, when you look at it comparatively, it's an interesting concept. This is an economy bass. It was a starter bass. It was meant for students, right? And it kind of talks about that economic principle that they have, where you talk about the workman's boots. You know, if you have expensive boots, they cost $50. If you have cheap boots, they cost $10. But the person who can't afford the $50 boots, they're buying the cheap boots, and they're buying them so much that you're not spending $50. You're spending $100 in the same amount of time. These are the nice boots. It's a little bit more, but it's going to keep its value. It's going to last a lot longer. It's going to save you money in the long run, because even if you play this thing for 10 years and then you off it, you're going to get almost every single dollar you got back. If you go for the Epiphone route with the G series stuff, those are really, really pretty basses and can be made fantastic. But the only problem is that it still says Epiphone on the headstock, and there's a lot of cork sniffing in the community that goes with that. And also, even if it wasn't that, you still have tons of other identical models that are out there. So it's very hard to stand apart. Whereas with this, it's very hard to blend in, really. It's not the type of thing you're going to see on stage and you're going to ignore. You're going to look on stage and be like, damn, what the hell's going on there? You know, who is that person, you know? So when it comes to buying an economy bass or, you know, an economy guitar, vintage, new, whatever it is, the big thing is that, you know, you got to ask yourself why you're buying it. Because if you're buying it because you love it, then buy it. Anything that you love, there should be no reason behind it to have to dote upon it. However, if you don't love it and you're just using it for gigs and stuff like that, or you're using it for an investment opportunity, this would be your guy. What a absolutely far out weirdo bass this thing is. This thing is awesome. I wish it belonged to me. I wouldn't get rid of it. And I almost never say that about a bass that comes through. Usually I'm playing the bass and I just think of my old jazz bass that I used to use when I was touring with Schizophonics and stuff like that years ago. And I love that bass. It was just so fantastic. And it's still here in town. There's a really nice fellow who owns it now. But this thing is got enough on it where it really does make you say, you know, wouldn't it be fun to be the person really holding it down? You know, because sometimes we forget as musicians, and most of us play multiple instruments anyway. You know, most of us don't just play guitar. We play drums, or we play bass, or we sing, or play piano, or something like that. You know, this is the type of instrument that'll take you to a point where you'll put your guitar on a shelf and you'll say, today I want to be the bass player. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I know this one was a little bit shorter, still getting over being sick and stuff like that. A reminder for you guys who are looking for the Mustang giveaway, don't forget, comment down there. It's going to be a pinned comment. All you got to do is put your first and your last initial and your general region of residence and or state. You do that, you're entered into the running. It's as simple as that. Anyway, have a beautiful day. I hope you guys dug the video. This thing was really quite a task to get together, and it's not done yet, but it's so close, you know, that you just can't help but stand back with your arms folded and say, oh, okay, you know, it feels really good. Because the only thing better than finishing a project is finishing a long project. You know, you've just got all of yourself invested in this thing, and your time and your money invested in this thing, and your attention invested in this thing. So to be able to stand back and look at it and say, you know, I can see where it went. You know, I feel that it went somewhere good. I feel that I invested my time wisely. Always feels great, and makes it so much easier to put your feet up in the night when you got a cup of tea in front of you. Anyway, have a beautiful day, and I will see you guys next week when we announce the winner of our Squire Mustang giveaway.